Good morning children. Today we will be discussing gold leaf electroscope. What is an electroscope? It is an instrument that is used for detecting the presence and the sign of electric charge on a body. And the device with such arrangement is known as gold leaf electroscope. The purpose for the electroscope is to detect whether a body has charge or not, and the second one is the type of charge, that is whether it is positive or negative. How does it look, or what is the construction of an electroscope? An electroscope consists of a metal called the stem, and with the metal ball or bulb usually made of brass, which is on the top, and at the bottom there are two very light foils made of gold attached to the bottom. When the leaf is fixed and the another one is removable, the arrangement is enclosed in a glass enclosure and is protected from it with the help of a rubber cork. You can see it, the setup or the construction of a gold leaf electroscope in the diagram. The purpose that is solved by an electroscope is detection of charge. Now it is used to determine whether an object is electrically charged or not. For that you have to bring a charged object near the metal ball, and if you see that the leaf separates as shown in the figure, you can indicate that whether it is negatively charged, positively charged or uncharged. So electroscope is a device that is used to demonstrate the characteristics of electric charge. Now consider that a charged body, that is negatively charged body, is brought near the bulb. The electrons will all repel and the bulb is left with a positive charge. The electrons are conducted to the metal foil, that is the leaf that is at the bottom, which separates because you will see that the leaves will repel each other because both the leaves are having negative charge, and we know that the same charges repel each other and so the leaves will be separated. We can also notice that there is the net force charge on the electroscope always remains 0 in these cases because it is isolated, or you can say that since it was kept in a glass box, it was insulated. Only the distribution of charges change and no other effects was there. However, it is possible that we can give it a net positive or negative charge by electrostatic charging. Charging an electroscope. It can be done by two methods. One is by conduction and another one is induction. I have already told you what is conduction. When two bodies are brought in contact with each other, there is transfer of electrons between them. So, with this process, we are going to charge an electroscope, and in the figure you can see how the conduction works for charging an electroscope. First, we have to take a rubber rod and it is rubbed with a fur, then it will attain a negative charge. If you bring this rod in contact with a metal ball of the electroscope, the electrons of the rod will mutually repelled by one another. Some will able to move onto the electroscope. From here we can tell that the electroscope will attain a negative charge, and this way the electroscope has been charged. The flow of charge in conduction takes place for very short time. Now in the diagram you can see that earlier the gold leaves were very close together, but after the process it has become very far distance. That means they have repelled each other. And why they have repelled? Because of the negative charge on both the leaves, and we know that like charges repel each other, and because of that it has opened up. We can also make a positive charge, or we can charge the electroscope by positive, and this can be done by bringing a positive charge in contact with the metal ball. For this you have to bring a positive charge rod in contact with the metal ball, and also charging by conduction is the same charge is attained by the electroscope as that on the charging rod. So if you bring a negative charge rod near the metal ball, the electroscope scope will be negatively charged. If you bring a positively charged conductor towards the metal ball, it will be negatively charged. Now another one is charging by induction. And you should remember that the process in which uncharged body is insulated metallic conductor gets electrically charged when a charged conductor is brought near it. This is called as induction. You can say that the charge on the uncharged conductor will be equal and opposite to that of the charged body. So if you touch your finger with the metal ball, the electroscope gets grounded and all the electrons will escape to the earth through the metal ball through your hand. After this, if you bring a negatively charged rod near the metal ball, even if you don't touch it, the rod will repel electrons from the metal bulb and into the finger and down into the earth. If you remove the finger now, the charge will still remain on it and it will be positively charged because the removed electrons have no way of following back into the electroscope, because it has once passed to the ground path, it cannot come back again. Because of this, the net positive charge will be there left on the electroscope, and we can say that electroscope has been charged by induction. We should remember that electroscope can also be negatively charged, and this can be done by bringing a positively charged rod near the metal ball. Also, by charging by induction, the equal and opposite charge is attained by the electroscope as that on the charging rod. Now we will be talking about lightning. Every one of you have seen lightning, and when it is raining, when there is thunder, lightning also occurs. But it is for a very short period of time. So you can say that lightning is spectacular blackish white light produced in the clouds. Lightning cannot be predicted. It is unpredictable and it occurs randomly at any time along with thunder, usually over less than half a second. Benjamin Franklin was the first to demonstrate the electrical nature of lightning. He performed many experiments with the kite made of silk, which he flew it during the thunderstorm. The central spar of this kite was 30 centimeter long iron wire. It was connected with a strong silk thread, and another end of which was connected to an iron key. He brought the knuckles near the lower end of the key, but nothing happened. However, when it started raining, he again brought this knuckles near the lower end of the key, and there at that time he saw that there was some sparks on the knuckles of the key. This made him to think about it, and when he did the experiment again, he realized that because the silk is wet, the thread allowed the electricity to flow from the clouds to the key and then the knuckles and finally through his body onto the earth. And we can say that Benjamin Franklin was lucky enough that he was not electrocuted. Next we will be talking about the lightning conductor. It is a device that is used to protect the building from damage by lightning during thunderstorm. The lightning conductor will help in reducing the possibility of lightning or prevents lightning by neutralizing the charge on the clouds with the opposite charge sent from it pointed spokes at the top of the building. Even after this, if the lightning strikes, it will provide a safe path to flow the charge to the earth so that the building remains unaffected. The conductor consists of thick copper strip on the outside of the building which connects metal spikes at the top of the metal plate in the ground as shown in the figure. The metal plate is usually made up of copper and it is buried deep inside the soil, wet soil, you have to remember, which will ensure it to be have good conductivity between the plates and the earth. So when the lightning will strike the conductor being made of copper, which allows the entire discharge from the clouds to safely flow into the earth, and this way the houses can be protected. Thank you.